So this is a disclaimer. I'm just gonna say this disclaimer right away, so the fucking EMS mafia can't come and get me and sue me for slander and all that stupid shit. Nothing I say or any views expressed in my videos have been fact checked. There is a chance that anything I say or any views expressed can be completely false or inaccurate. There is a chance that the world we live in does not exist. There's a chance that this is all a simulation and that we are all computer programs and that the only real fucking human beings in this simulation are Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. So anyways, with that being said, let's go to the video. You saw the fucking title, you click it yourself. If you want to disagree, again, put it in the comments or dislike the video, whatever, freedom of speech, all that stupid shit. So yeah, the video is pretty much, it's called Why Healthcare is Toxic. And specifically, what I'm going to be coming from an EMS side because that's why that's what I'm used to. However, I'm saying this is why all of healthcare is toxic, coming again from an EMS perspective. So let's get on to the first point. Who started the toxicology in the fucking healthcare? It all started with nurses. Before I get into this bullet point of why stupid fucking nurses ruin healthcare and started bringing their toxic, stupid shit into healthcare and ruining it, I do have to first say this. Again, like, if you haven't watched my previous videos, don't become a paramedic. Please watch it, or at least watch the first bullet point. I've definitely spent a lot of time in hospital, clinical hours. I did like 360 clinical hours when I was in paramedic school. Even though you only need 160, I've definitely like learned a lot from nurses. A lot of the best people in healthcare that I've met have been nurses. However, that's been the shitty minority. Again, a shitty minority. The majority of nurses that I've had the shitty displeasure of fucking meeting, talking to, are fucking trash human beings and ruining, are the reason why healthcare fucking sucks. So with that being said, I am just simply stating this is not every single nurse. If you go up to a nurse, be prepared for the worst, but expect the best out of them. Just because I'm saying most nurses are shitty human beings, I don't want you guys all going out there and fucking shitting on fucking nurses. Unless they're into that. Unless you have consent and they're into you shitting on them, then yeah, go for that shit. But yeah, so again, some of the best people I have met in healthcare have been nurses. This is mostly about the majority of nurses who are pieces of shits. So let's start it off. Why is healthcare toxic and how did it start with nurses? In order to start this bullet point, feel free to skip ahead if I'm just fucking droning on and on. I had to say a little bit of a story of a call I ran. And I'm gonna just make it a little bit quick. So pretty much I was running a call in 911 as a medic. We get some call, like some dude in like the shitty residence. His neighbor called like 911 for him and crap. Like he took care of his neighbor, and pretty much the patient was, we go into this residence because the neighbor called 911. The neighbor opened the door for us and shit. We go up the stairs and we see the patient. The patient's this old dude who's completely bedridden. He's stuck to his bed. He smells like shit. And why? Because he's covered in his own shit, dripping. He looks pale. He's cold. And his house didn't really have the best kind of fucking heating. Pretty much the story about the patient is that his wife is normally like his caretaker and he's bedridden. But the wife, for some reason or another, pretty much had to like go to the hospital or some shit. The story was kind of vague, and honestly this has been years, so I'm kind of like a little bit iffy on the details. My memory's not as good as it used to be, and that's not the important part. The important part will come later if I drone on, just skip ahead. So pretty much, yeah, we had this patient. It's a failure to thrive thing. Dude hasn't eaten for days, covered in his own shit. He says his wife normally takes care of him, but the wife is gone because she said that she had to go to the hospital, and that she told the neighbor before she left, hey, can you check up on my husband here and there? And the neighbor was kind of like, like, fuck you, bitch. I got my own shit. I got my own fucking life. But yeah, I'm not going to take care of your husband. But yeah, for sure, I'll check up on you here and there. So no one has really been feeding him. And pretty much the neighbor hasn't been feeding him. But he did happen to check on him. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So yeah, we go there. Uh, we're checking the patient out. And then we bring him down. We get his vital signs. They're all fucking like good and shit. The only thing about his vital signs were all stable for the most part, except for his temperature. I remember I felt his temperature. He felt fucking cold. Why was he cold? Because he was pretty much sitting in his own shit and piss. That shit's fucking cold, and the heating wasn't good in his house. So he was sitting in his own pee and shit, and he felt super cold. I couldn't get temperature on him. It just kept reading air. I mean, it's like he's just fucking cold. But patient was like ANO2, the baseline. He had some like weird fucking dementia, some kind of bullshit like that. So yeah, other than that, his blood pressure, heart rate, everything was fine. Sugar was surprisingly good, even though he hadn't eaten for a few days. Yeah, 12 lead was all good. So yeah, we're just going code 2 to the hospital, and I'm rechecking his blood pressure. And then I noticed that like his blood pressure is fucking. I mean, yeah, we're going code 2 to the hospital. The heater's up. I have him covered up in blankets. And I noticed, while we're going transporting, his blood pressure on the monitor, it's going down. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I took off the automatic blood pressure cuff and it's like, alright, his blood, because it kept dropping and went to like 80s and shit. And I'm like, huh. And originally I'm going code 2 for this failure to thrive patient whose vitals are stable. So I didn't even get a fucking IV. I'm like, he doesn't really need an IV. He just needs some TLC and maybe a better fucking wife. That's something that we all could probably use, a better fucking wife though. So anyways, yeah, we're going code 2 to the hospital. I check his blood pressure with the good old fashioned palpate and palpate / auscultation, because that's the most accurate way to see like, hey, is my monitor fucking up, or is his blood pressure actually low? I checked on both arms, palpated blood pressure, and like, huh, his blood pressure is fucking dropping. Other than that though, he was fine. Like heart rate wasn't going taggy, he wasn't going Brady. Like his mental status was the same, ANO2 and shit. His temperature, of course, he was still fucking cold. Like you can, there's only so much how you can raise someone's temperature up with a heater and some fucking blankets for a guy who's been sitting in his own shit and piss for days. So anyway, so then I upgrade code 3, and of course the dude is a little bit dehydrated, so he has no fucking veins, so I can't get a fucking IV. But we're like, we're fucking close enough. After my failed IV attempts, my partner was like, hey, we're fucking close enough. Let's just fucking bring him in. He's also fucking like ANO2-ish. We're just going in because his blood pressure's dropping. So yeah, we get to the hospital, and and the one receiving it in the emergency room was a new resident, a first semester resident. You can always tell the first year resident. I always knew who the first year residents is and / first semester residents is at the hospitals in the emergency room. I always knew who they were because they were the only ones who were nice to us in the ER. Like they would always be like, "Thank you for your help." They ask you a lot of questions. Like usually the experienced doctors, very fast because it's ER. They ask the pertinent shit. Like they let you give your report, your turnover report, and then they'll ask very few pertinent questions, and then they ask you to fucking leave and go. But no, the residences are always super nice. They ask questions, they're super polite, and at the end, like most residences, the new residences, they usually are all like, oh yeah, thank you for your help, thank you for your service. And I'm like, like thanks. I mean, I'm getting fucking paid for this stupid job that pays me like fucking minimum wage, but thanks for being the one person in this fucking hospital to say thank you. So anyways, we have this new first semester resident, and he has his doctor preceptor there, and he's asking me questions. He's super being polite. I'm being nice and helping him. I know how it is to have a fucking preceptor and be all stressed out and shit. And then this new resident guy, he then said this. He's like, his blood pressure is a little low and his temperature is cold. Let's do a sepsis workup on him. And then the ER nurse, who is the scribe, so just charting, putting it into the patient, suddenly interrupts. He says, "Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do a sepsis workup?" He's like, and then the new resident, again, he's new, really book smart, but not really that experienced. He's starting to hesitate. He's starting to like I don't know, and he's like, you don't, he's like, do you really want to go with that sepsis workup? Do you really need to do that? And this new resident, he's just starting to fucking hesitate and shit, and I'm kind of like, to this ER, I didn't say shit. I'm just like fucking watching this, but I'm like thinking in my head, I'm thinking it in my fucking head, like thinking out loud, like, one, to this ER nurse, you are not this fucking new resident's fucking preceptor. Like, he has a more experienced doctor right next to him, judging him how he's running calls, and he's the one who's going to pass him eventually. He's the one who's supposed to teach him, not you. And this doesn't just go to nurses. This also goes to EMT lifers from the EMS side, such the ambulance side, because again, that's where I'm coming from, as I have more experience about. So this will go back to nurses and shitty EMT lifers. Like, to be kind EMT lifers will say this to like fucking paramedic interns and shit, and nurses who say this to like doctor residences and shit. It's kind of like, why do you have to like interrupt? And I get like, because here's the shitty thing about a lot of nurses. There's also the shitty thing about EMT lifers. Both of those shitty populations have shitty chips on their shoulders. Take a shot every time I say the word shitty. Like, the big thing I've noticed a lot about ER nurses is that they always they always do this to new residents. They're like, oh man, yeah, I have so many years of experience in the ER. Like, I'm better than you because I have so much experience. And one, that is partially true. You have a lot more experience than these new residents, and they could definitely learn from you. And then they're like, oh, I'm good because I have a lot of experience. And with the EMT lifers, it's the same thing. Like, a lot of the EMT lifers, sorry, I'm going off a tangent, but they'll say that to new paramedics as paramedic interns. Are like, yeah, you really wouldn't do that. It's not even just them. A lot of fucking stupid fucking firefighters and stupid firefighter paramedics like to fuck with interns like that too. They're like, do you really want to put a 12 lead? Why aren't you doing a 12 lead? You really want to put a C-collar on him? Why aren't you putting a C-collar on him? Oh, you should have put that C-collar on faster. You know, they like to fuck with the doctor. They like to fuck with the paramedic intern, the new resident, whoever. And my big issue about the reason why they like to fuck with them is, again, because they're chips on their shoulders. They like to be like, haha, I'm better than you, doctor. Haha, I'm better than you, you intern. A lot of it is like, again, please watch my first video, Don't Become a Paramedic. This really goes with the first point. A lot of it is really ego stroking. Because the thing about stupid healthcare is healthcare attracts the shittiest human beings in the world. It's literally what I call the Los Angeles effect. Why is everyone in Los Angeles such a piece of shit? No offense. Because Los Angeles attracts the shittiest human beings from across the country to this one little hot-ass smoldering city, this traffic jam of a shitty city. That's why Los Angeles is shitty, because you have the shittiest human beings going there. Why is healthcare so shitty? Why is EMS so shitty? Why are nurses so shitty? Because they are attracting the shittiest people to their into their systems. I don't want to quote Trump here, but I do have to he does put it perfectly. They're not sending their best. They might be sending their best in terms of grades, just not the best in terms of fucking human being qualities, like the qualities that a fucking human being should have, right? So yeah, you have all these nurses and EMT lifers who like to fucking mess with new residences and paramedic interns, because they're like, just to boost their own ego, to be like, haha, haha. And I know a lot of people are going to counterpoint. They're like, no, they're not doing it to boost their ego. They're just trying to help this person fucking learn. If you are truly trying to help someone learn, that is probably like, okay, I can kind of see it, but that's not the issue. Because even if you are trying to make them learn, and sorry to go off on a little tangent, but this is from my experience. I've never been a talented medical professional. Like, again, and I say this in my other videos, if you aren't like a bartender or surfer bro, you're not going to be talented in at least the EMS side. And if you aren't autistic, you're not going to be that great of a doctor. Like, that memorization is going to be really hard on you if you aren't autistic. So, like, I've had, again, me not being a talented medical professional, I had 2 fucking preceptors when I was going through internship. The first one failed my ass. The worst part about the first preceptor that failed my ass wasn't actually the preceptor. The worst part about my first preceptor who failed me was the preceptor's partner. Again, I was sucking, like I was doing horrible in the internship. But after every bad call, which was like every single one of them, it wasn't just that the preceptor was shitting on me. My preceptor's partner also had his own stupid fucking 2 cents, not even a fucking 2 cents, like his 10 fucking cents, his 3p and a fucking soda, his own big fucking asshole shitty opinion to also put in. So, that was a bad part about internship, like just getting shit on by my preceptor. It's already bad enough to be shit on by my preceptor and by their partner. And again, the shitting part isn't the worst part. The worst part is it made learning so fucking hard. Because if you have your preceptor who's going to pass you, again, your doctor preceptor who passes the new residences eventually after their 4-year residency and whatnot, and your paramedic preceptor, they have a goal for you to learn. And you're going to suck at a call, and they're going to pinpoint on those mistakes and try to get you past them, right? It is if you are a new resident or a new paramedic intern, there's so much sensory overload. There's already so much sensory overload and input on all your mistakes and failures when you have one person telling you what you sucked at and what to work on. But that is doable. There's a lot of sensory overload, but it's doable because you have one voice, one vision to help you guide you to where you need to be. A second voice, a third voice, even though, again, to the counterpoints are like, oh, these people are trying to help you learn. No, they're doing it out of ego. And even if they were trying to do it out of love to help you learn, it's counterproductive. And I'm saying this from my experience, having multiple voices tell you things is honestly just distracting. It's just distracting. And the worst part is, they might say, a lot of times these voices say some contradicting stuff to your preceptor, who's actually the one who's trying to guide you to this state of knowledge for you to pass. So if you are a new resident and you have this shitty fucking nurse, this shitty fucking ER nurse with a shitty chip on her shoulder, like spouting their fucking 2 cents at you while you're trying to just run a fucking assessment, it can be very fucking distracting. You're already doing bad. Your fucking stupid doctor preceptor is already destroying you because, again, everyone in healthcare is toxic, and then now you have an even more toxic nurse shitting on you. It's just distracting, and it just makes learning hard. For the nurses, makes hard learning as a paramedic intern. We have some shitty firefighters doing that. And I'm sorry to go off on another fucking tangent, but here is I do really have to address the chips on the shoulders from the EMT lifers and the ER nurses. And I am not telling anyone, I'm just asking for mutual respect from every party. A lot of the ER nurses, why they have a chip on their shoulder towards the ER, the new residents and new doctors, because they're always like, in the back of their mind, they're like, I could have been a doctor. I could have been I'm so great. I have all this experience over this new shitty resident. One, give it a couple years, that resident will be way better than you nurse. And I'm telling your nurses, no, you could never have been a doctor. If you could have been a doctor, you would have become one already. Instead of working and getting so much experience and becoming such a great nurse because of your experience. No, if you could have been a doctor, you would have already fucking done that already. And to the new residences, because there are, I'm pretty much seeing both sides of this argument. There's a lot of new residences. There's not. Honestly, most new residents have always been the nicest people. But let's say that you have a shitty new resident who's like telling nurse, shut the fuck up, you're just a nurse. Don't fucking say that, all right? Again, they are your senior. They have tons of experience. They're a wealth of knowledge. Respect the years that they have put into their craft, into honing their craft to become a good ER nurse. Respect that. At the same time, to you stupid, shitty fucking ER nurses, respect the effort and that this fucking new resident put in just to get to med school, just to get to med school, pass, to get their masters, to get the med school, pass med school, to get into residency, just to get shit on by their doctor fucking preceptor the entire time. Like, you're a nurse because you were not smart enough to become a fucking doctor. Like, just accept that. Respect that you were either too dumb to become a doctor or just not dedicated enough. Because again, a lot of flashcards, you are not autistic, so you have to put in a lot of time and effort into fucking memorizing. You did not have that discipline, but that new resident, that new kid who did pass med school and is now in residency, he did have that discipline. So respect the effort that he put in, the respect, that competitiveness that he did to shit on the other 10 people who could not get into fucking med school. Like, and respect that he's going through a shitty thing. Say that goes with the EMT lifers. Like, again, I've worked with like this does not go to all the EMT lifers. Like, seriously, like one of my favorite partners was an EMT who had like over 20 years of experience. I definitely learned a lot from him. He was like my best partner by far. And this does not go out to him. And he was a great fucking partner. This goes out to like the shitty EMT lifers, which is pretty much the rest of them, excluding my awesome favorite partner. Like, these EMT lifers, again, because they have so much experience, they're definitely smart. They're definitely like better at, like, they can immediately show up to a call and be like, that's a UTI, that smells like a UTI, that smells like a GI bleed. Oh shit, this is a code 3. A paramedic intern, or even some new paramedics, it's not as automatic to them. The EMT lifers, everything's automatic to them. That's one plus that they have against them. But the shittiest thing about the EMT lifers, and this goes back to the shitty ER nurses, again, take a shot for every time I say the word shitty, is that these EMT lifers, like, they like to shit on new paramedics and paramedic interns. Like, they like to fuck with them because they're like, oh hey, like, I have so much experience. And again, I have to reiterate this. You are not the fucking preceptor. You are distracting this fucking intern, this fucking new trainee who's just trying to learn. You are just stroking your fucking ego. And I remember I was talking to an EMT lifer. This was not my favorite partner, but he was a cool dude anyways. But we were talking and I was like, hey man, like, we were just having a dialogue because I was like, hey dude, you're a great fucking EMT. Why aren't you like going to paramedic school? Most EMT lifers will give you like some stupid like excuse, like some fake excuse. But this guy, he was actually super fucking truthful, and it really goes to like, again, most EMT lifers, excluding my favorite partner. He told the truth. He's like, I see how, like, this is his answer why he never went to the paramedic school and why he doesn't want to. He said, I see how the paramedic preceptors in this company shit on your interns. I see how the paramedic FTOs shit on new paramedic trainees. I see how the firefighters treat the fucking paramedic interns and the new paramedics. I see how they get shit on all the time. And he said this, I'm a full grown man, and to be honest, I don't think I can fucking go through that. He said my ego, he's like, well, he didn't say the word ego, but he's like, hey, like, to get shit on constantly, he's like, I don't think I can take that. I'm probably going to punch someone and get kicked out of paramedic school during internship, because with all these people shitting on me all the time, I'm probably going to punch someone. And that is partially manly and all partially kind of pussyish, because it's kind of like, but again, it's pretty manly because he actually told me the truth. So I'm like, so you're pretty much saying that your ego is too high to take being shit on. And again, he had years of experience. Like, he was a very good EMT, very good, could walk up to a room and be like, that's a UTI, that's a GI bleed, all that shit. Like, more years of experience just makes your fucking ego bigger. It's like a fucking dick. It just gets bigger, right? And with your ego getting bigger, it makes it harder to fucking learn, because you keep telling yourself that you're a fucking badass. And like, so the EMT lifers who keep shitting on these, again, to the shitty EMT lifers, not the good ones, the shitty EMT lifers who shit on new paramedics and new paramedic interns, respect the position that they're in. Respect that they're not doctors, but respect the grit of that paramedic intern. He's getting shit on and not getting paid for it because it's an internship. He's showing up to these long hour shifts and getting shit on, and he's doing it. he or she, because again, both sexes can be medical professional. He or she is taking this shit with on the chin, rolling with the punches. You could not roll with the punches. That's the only reason why your shitty ass is an EMT lifer. And to the disrespectful paramedics, because again, I'm asking respect from both sides. The disrespectful paramedics, don't shit on your EMT lifer. Like, never be like, oh, you're just a shitty EMT. Shut the fuck up. You know, like, actually hear them out sometimes. Hear them out. And back to the EMT lifers. While they're hearing you out, shut the fuck up sometimes.
Shut the fuck up!
Everyone's got an opinion. They're just like a fucking asshole. Anyways, so sorry, I have been fucking going on stupid fucking tangents. My bad. Back to pretty much how residency is for doctors. Like I said, I could always tell the new doctor residences, because they were always so super nice to us. They were the only ones nice to us in the hospital, with the exception of like a few nurses out there that I actually had good relationships with. Shout outs, no names because I ain't a snitch. And here's the biggest difference between like a residence, like a third year resident and like a first year resident. The first year resident, the nurses are shitting on them and like trying to like fuck with them. Do you really want to do a 12 lead? Do you really want to do a sepsis workup? Do you really want to do that? Do you really want to do this? Why didn't you do this faster? And again, shut the fuck up. You're distracting him or her while the paramedic, while the doctor preceptor is like taking care of them. So that's how it is to the first year residents. The third year residents is the nurses will be like, do you really want to do a sepsis workup? And the third year resident is like, shut the fuck up. Yes, I want to do a sepsis workup. Yes, I want to do this. There's a lot more fucking what's the word? There's a lot more conviction behind their fucking words. There's a lot more conviction. There's some hair on their chest. There's some hair on their nuts. You know, they're like, yes, I want this. Yes, I want this. They're a lot more confident. Not confident, honest, more aggressive. And this goes into a little bit of a tangent, but there are three different human beings in this world. This is a saying that I have, or I don't know, the internet, who the fuck knows. There are sheep, there are wolves, and there are shepherds. They're three different people. You don't want to be a sheep. You're a sheep, you're weak, and everyone attacks you. You're nice, but you're weak. And again, being nice is a privilege of the strong. That gets me to the next point. Next, you're a wolf. You're a wolf. That means you're a shitty ER nurse. You're a shitty paramedic. You have you are just super insecure with yourself. So you take it out by lashing out on others to stroke your own ego. You just attack others. You make the world a worse place. You exploit sheep to make yourself better. Sometimes you eat sheep even though you're already full. You're not hungry, but you'll eat and attack the sheep for no fucking reason. The third is what everyone wants to become. Not everyone can become a shepherd, but everyone wants to be a shepherd. A shepherd is someone who is as strong or stronger than a fucking wolf, but still has like the virtues of being a sheep. Like I said, charity is a luxury of the rich. Niceness can only be enjoyed if you have strength with it. That's what it means to be like a fucking shepherd and shit. And it's kind of with it being like, you don't want to be a pussy, you don't want to be aggressive like a wolf, but you want to be assertive like a shepherd. Most people don't end up like that. It's much easier to become a wolf yourself than it is to become a shepherd. There are very few like good people. Like, those are the very few good shepherds I noticed. Like, people, they stick up for the sheep. They protect them because they protect the sheep from wolves eating, because they're not good people. They have nothing to gain from it. They just don't like that fucking weak shit. And they don't attack sheep because they don't have that hunger, those mental insecurities that the wolves have. Now, this was what happens to most new residents as paramedics, and why healthcare is so toxic. You're a new resident and you're having all these fucking nurses shit on you, making you second guess yourself. Because again, please watch my first video, don't become a paramedic. There's the only two medical professionals that need confidence are paramedics and doctors. When you have these shitty nurses, these shitty firefighters making you second guess yourself and making you lose confidence in yourself, it's a shit storm. You can't fucking take care of patients because patients don't look at you. They don't trust you if you don't have confidence. Your fucking team doesn't trust you if you don't have confidence. It's a shitstorm. And if you have that, so you have these people shitting on you, and then instead of becoming a shepherd, like most of these residences and paramedics, instead of becoming shepherds to be like, hey, don't fuck with me, instead they become wolves. Like the nurse is like, do you really want to do a sepsis workup? And they're like, yes, I want to do a sepsis fucking workup. Fucking do it, you stupid fucking nurse. Like, they don't become shepherds, they become wolves themselves. They bite, because these stupid ER nurses, these wolves, have been biting on these sheep residences for way too fucking long. You keep biting them, they're gonna fucking bite back by evolving into wolves and biting back. Bigger fucking wolves, because obviously they're doctors, meaning they got more money. None of them really become shepherds. They just become fucking wolves and attack. And again, why is that bad? Because wolves are always hungry. They bite at everything in their reach. That is why, like, if you please again watch my fucking first video, don't become a paramedic. So many of my fucking points go back to that. Everyone shits on paramedics. Patients shit on paramedics. EMTs shit on paramedics. Like EMT lifers shit on paramedics. ER nurses shit on paramedics. ER doctors shit on paramedics. The reason why do ER doctors shit on paramedics? Because they've been shit on by nurses. Like I told you, the first year residences are so fucking nice to us and everyone. Give it a third year resident, fourth year resident, that niceness is fucking gone. They're shitting on you. They're shitting on the paramedics just the same as the experienced doctors, just as same as the experienced nurses. Now, again, why is that? Because they're not assertive. They're just aggressive. They learn that this is how healthcare is, and that they have to fucking shit on everyone so that they don't get shit on themselves. And it all started with nurses. If the nurses didn't shit on these new residences in the beginning, these residences wouldn't be shitting on the paramedics. And if the paramedics weren't being shit on, they wouldn't be shitting on the EMTs. If the EMTs weren't being shit on, they wouldn't be shitting on newer EMTs and IFT EMTs. You know, it's a whole fucking shit cycle that all started with nurses shitting on doctors. And again, this is a little bit biased because I'm literally talking about the emergency department. Like, I'm talking about the emergency department and EMS. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, you can go upstairs to, I don't know, a fucking, like, the respiratory department or orthopedics, and maybe the culture is completely different and nurses are fucking nice. But there's a saying, nurses eat their own young. I didn't fucking make it up. So, on to point number 2. People turn on you. This goes to every single career field. Like, people, ever since capitalism and corporatism came so fucking big, people are going to fucking turn on each other anytime there's one bone. There's 10 dogs and only one bone. Yeah, they're going to fight and turn on each other. The big reason why I say people turning on you is a shitty part of healthcare specifically is because people think that healthcare is supposed to be like fucking different. Like, pretty much, like, because at least for the EMS side, the hospital side is slightly safer, and I mean slightly safer. At least the emergency department, the emergency department EMS, you get combative patients, combative psych patients all the time. There is a good chance of one of these patients beating your fucking ass.
Finish him!
He needs some milk!
You really do need to trust the person who's next to you. At least in the hospital, it's a little bit better because they have like security guards. So it's more like, oh, I need to trust this security guard. You want to have a partner you can trust to handle that shit. Like, when a patient tries to fucking stab you, you can trust each other to have each other's backs. Because of that, it's like a little different feel. You have this kind of trust with your partner. To have partners who you know can turn on you fucking sucks. And unfortunately, most of the people you work with in healthcare, and I'm coming more at this angle from more of an EMS side, most of these people will turn on you. I've seen this from the 911 side and the IFT side. The biggest reason that I've seen people turn on each other is usually because of like job promotions. this goes back to my old video, Don't Become a Paramedic. Please watch it. There's only 3, I'm reiterating facts from it because I know most of you guys are first time like viewers and stuff from the stats. There's only 3 ways how you can leave EMS. You get injured, you go crazy or get burnt out, or you become a supervisor / training officer. Those supervisor / training officer positions come by rarely. And these salty ass medics, these young medics and EMTs who don't want to become fucking lifers or salty ass people, everyone's going to be fighting for that. The worst part was like when I've seen this happen in both an IFT company and a 911. Like really, I saw like the worst part, like in an IFT company, a supervisor position came up. And I would see dudes, like guys that I actually trusted and like working with, they would start snitching on their coworkers and on each other. Like they would start snitching on each other for like the stupidest shit. And the reason why they were doing that is because they were like trying to make their competitors look bad. And even like there was one dude who will remain unnamed. He started snitching on people who, like the shady thing was he started snitching on people who were clearly not gunning for that supervisor position. Like this person was not going to be in EMS any like that much longer, but you were shitting on this random person. The only reason why you shit on them is because you made your stock look better, to make yourself look better. You're like, oh, this person is taking like lunch breaks when they're not supposed to, but I'm not, you know. So you snitch on them to make them look bad, to make yourself look better, because like, oh, they're breaking the rules, but I'm like not. Doesn't that make me look better for the supervisor position? That was fucking like hella sus. Like, you know, that really puts a fucking like bad taste in your mouth, no pun intended. Like when like you want to have a partner who you can trust to have your back when shit hits the fan, but you also know that like at a drop of a dime, at a drop of a job posting for a supervisor position, they're going to start throwing you under the bus for stupid shit. It creates a lot of stupid drama. And this is like, again, every single field, but it's worse in healthcare because in healthcare, there's that, you think there's going to be that inherent trust. And I'm telling you this from a dude who's been in healthcare, that trust is fucking fake. Don't trust your coworkers, don't trust your partners. Treat this shit like an office job, where an office job, everyone is a fucking snake. Most people in healthcare are fucking snakes who will turn on you easily. So that brings me actually to my closing arguments. Healthcare is a toxic work environment. It's full of shitty people who like shitting on each other just to make themselves feel better. And one more of my closing arguments before I finish this. See, I'm coming at this from mostly like the EMS side, but I did talk to some other medical professionals / people that I know about, because mostly this video is, again, shitting on nurses. The majority of them, I'm shitting on it. Again, I do have to reiterate, some of the best medical professionals, some of the nicest people who have learned so much and really helped me in my career have been nurses. This is not about those awesome fucking shepherd nurses. Remember, they're the rare shepherds. This is to the majority who are fucking wolves. And again, so I was talking to some other medical professionals, and I was like, pretty much I'm talking shit about nurses, the wolf nurses again. And apparently, I might be wrong. I've been hearing that actually radiologists are the shittiest people in healthcare. They are the saltiest fucking people. They will get you fucking fired for a little thing. These fucking radiologists, apparently they're sitting in these dark fucking rooms just planning. They're looking at they're doing two things in that room. They're looking at x-rays and they're thinking of ways to get people fucking fired. They're trying to fire ER techs, trying to fucking fire x-ray techs and CT guys, CT techs. That's what pretty much I've heard. Please leave in the comments, who do you, if you disagree with any of the points I made, feel free to dislike this video or just post a comment on freedom of speech. And if you have a different opinion on who really is the shittiest person in healthcare, leave it in a comment. Like, you could say, hey, I think the fucking janitors are the shittiest people in healthcare because they're literally knee-deep in shit. Post it in a comment. You think that EMTs are the shittiest, or respiratory therapists are the shittiest, put it in the comments, with your arguments and crap. Oh, and before I end this video, here's just an announcement. I'll be posting my videos, like this video, to a podcast. I'll put the links in the description below. Yeah, I'll pretty much be moving all my stupid rant videos to the podcast. I'm just gonna end this video by saying, healthcare is shitty. Don't let it make you shitty.